In this corner, we have Mario Kart 64, holding a Player's Choice title and the title of second best-selling game on the Nintendo 64. And in this corner, we have Diddy Kong Racing, also holding a Player's Choice title and recipient of the Guinness World Record for the fastest-selling game of the time.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing are arguably the two most successful racing games on the Nintendo 64.
Sorry, Cruisin' USA. The two games feature similar gameplay elements, but there are also big differences between the two games. Let's break it down, starting with the character roster. Both games utilize different classes of characters, depending on their weight, because being classified as heavy won't hurt your self-esteem. The weight class of the character impacts their speed and acceleration, so for both games, there is strategy in which character you choose. Mario Kart 64 has a total of 8 characters, which compared to today's standards is pretty low, and is also lower than Diddy Kong Racing, which features 10 characters. What I think Diddy Kong Racing also does better is that the additional 2 characters are unlockable, meaning you must put in the work if you want to play as Drumstick and TT. Unlocking characters is something I've always loved doing, because there's no bigger flex than being able to say you can race as TT, and it's something I wish more modern games included. Where I think the character roster of Diddy Kong Racing falls compared to Mario Kart 64 is that all the characters except Diddy Kong debuted in Diddy Kong Racing. So you didn't know who the hell you were racing as. 2 characters, Banjo and Conker, would eventually go on to receive their own franchises, but in Diddy Kong Racing, they were nobodies. The characters are all cute and all, but when compared to legends like Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, and Bowser, the same excitement when picking a character just isn't there in Diddy Kong Racing for me. Next, let's look at the tracks. Mario Kart 64 has a total of 16 tracks, which are divided into 4 cups, which is once again outnumbered by Diddy Kong Racing, which has 20 tracks spread out over 5 worlds.
If we're keeping score, then you can go ahead and give Diddy Kong Racing a point for having the most tracks. But like they say, quality over quantity, baby.
That said, I find the quality of the tracks in both games to be very similar, and maybe would say the tracks in Mario Kart 64 are only slightly better, and probably more creative. Of course, Mario Kart 64 has legendary tracks like Rainbow Road, which has gone to be used in many memes. But I also really enjoy the tracks in Diddy Kong Racing, especially the Oceanside and snowy Christmas-themed tracks.
And with Diddy Kong Racing, each track playthrough can be different depending on the vehicle you choose.
Unlike Mario Kart 64, where all you can drive are carts, in Diddy Kong Racing, you can drive a car, a hovercraft, or plane, each with their own advantages and disadvantages. While some tracks you don't have a choice in what vehicle you use, like Whale Bay, where you must use a hovercraft, for the majority of the tracks you do have a choice. And so depending on the vehicle you choose, you can have different experiences playing the same track. And speaking of tracks, let's talk soundtracks.
The music of a video game, especially a racing game, in my opinion, really has an impact on the playing experience.
Now, the music in Mario Kart 64 is good,
but it can be better.
especially when compared to David Wise, who was the composer for Diddy Kong Racing. If you don't know who David Wise is, then go back and listen to the music in classic games like Super Smash Bros. Melee, Star Fox Adventures, and the Donkey Kong Country series. His music is so magical that he should have his own Christmas album. Press A presents A David Wise Christmas, featuring such standards as And who could forget? And everyone's favorite. I know music is subjective, but the soundtrack of Diddy Kong Racing is just so much better than Mario Kart 64, and it's the reason why most of the music in this video is from Diddy Kong Racing. Up next are items. Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing wouldn't be the unique games they are without items. And Mario Kart 64 has 14, which include Mushroom, Triple Mushrooms, Super Mushroom, Fake Item, Banana, Banana Bunch, Green Shell, Triple Green Shells, Red Shell, Triple Red Shells, Spiny Shell, Superstar, Thunderbolt, and Boo. Now, this is an area where Diddy Kong Racing falls hard compared to Mario Kart 64, as Diddy Kong Racing only has 5 items, or weapon balloons as they are called. They include Red Balloon, which are missiles, Blue Balloon, which are speed boosts, Yellow Balloon, which is a shield, Green Balloon, a dropper, and the Rainbow Balloon, which is a magnet. What Diddy Kong Racing does differently is that you can power up your weapon balloons, meaning that the player will receive a stronger item if they collect more balloons of the same color consecutively. For example, one red balloon gives you one forward-firing missile, but if you upgrade that item by grabbing a second red balloon, then you've upgraded your item to one homing missile. It's essentially like going from a green shell to a red shell in Mario Kart 64. An item can be upgraded 2 times, and you can get some pretty powerful items if you're able to fully upgrade. But given there's only 5 items to collect, most of which aren't very creative, this mechanic feels weak considering Mario Kart 64 has 14 items. To be fair, yes, 4 of the items in Mario Kart 64 are just triple of one item, like triple shells. But Mario Kart 64 also has some creative and chaotic items, like the Spiny Shell, Thunderbolt, and Superstar.
Where I think the items work well in Diddy Kong Racing are the battle stages and the single-player boss races, but not so much in the multiplayer races.
What I love about Mario Kart 64, and the series in general, is how chaotic races can be because of the items. But not everyone likes chaotic. But outside of characters, tracks, vehicles, and items, the best thing Diddy Kong Racing has that no Mario Kart game has is an adventure mode. Adventure mode is the main mode of Diddy Kong Racing, where players must travel and race in different worlds to find a number of golden balloons to defeat Whizpig. Is it just me, or does Whizpig look an awful like Caliber from Halloween Town? Part of this adventure includes boss races, where you face off one-on-one against the boss of each world, and silver coin challenges where you must collect 8 silver coins while still making first in the race. And then there's challenge levels which have unique objectives, like trying to be the first to hatch 3 eggs, or be the first to place 10 bananas in their chest. And to even unlock these challenge levels, you must find a key located in a specific course of that world, which can be quite tricky to find for a first-time player. For example, the key to unlock the challenge level in Dragon Forest is found in Boulder Canyon, where you must hit this bell to raise the bridge you just crossed, and use a speed boost to use the bridge as a ramp to grab the key.
It's details like these and the extra content of Adventure Mode that really make Diddy Kong Racing stand out. And if it's not already obvious, I'm Team Diddy Kong Racing.
That said, I do feel Mario Kart 64 is better for multiplayer, but that doesn't mean the multiplayer in Diddy Kong Racing is bad. Ultimately, both are amazing games, and these are just my opinions. It's a real shame we never received a sequel to Diddy Kong Racing, given the game's success. For anyone who doesn't know, there were 2 Diddy Kong Racing sequels planned, but both were later cancelled in the aftermath of Microsoft's acquisition of Rare in 2002, and I'm still bitter. Video game developer Climax Studios even pitched their own sequel idea to Nintendo around 2004, called Diddy Kong Racing Adventure, but Nintendo of course rejected the idea. It looks like we'll never get a sequel to Diddy Kong Racing. But hey, at least we have Mario Kart 8, right? A game released in 2014 and still having DLC added almost 10 years later. So, are you Team Mario Kart 64 or Team Diddy Kong Racing? Let us know and why in the comments. Thanks for watching.